These cases are real. The justice is swift.
The justice is also justice.
Order in my damn court.
Welcome to Podpodcastcast.
Justice, 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 justice.
Shut the hell up.
And he could throw you in prison for that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
could.
he could. Yeah.
Don't make me get my gavel.
Welcome to Podpodcastcast. It's a podcast where we review other podcasts. I'm Sam.
I'm Honor.
That's like, okay, I need you to do it with a different cadence because that's how you do it every time.
No, but I did that one longer. I did that one with my usual weird cadence, but longer than my usual weird.
And today we're joined by Justice.
It's me.
What?
Hello, Justice.
We've completed
Here I
the
am.
trio.
I'm here with family and Samly.
Wow.
Here we
So
are.
That's
true.
so beautiful. Yes, Justice, you are the last of Honor siblings. We just recorded with... Do you wish there were more, or you just regret the whole sibling?
Just the whole thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a mess.
It's a hassle.
We just recorded with Patience, although when this comes out, it will be a month later.
Yeah.
And so, Justice, we were talking with Patience. Patience did the art for the show.
Oh,
And I'm going to say you haven't really done anything for the show. And we were kind of talking about how what you could contribute. And I think you could be our Jamie.
I think so too.
How Joe Rogan has Jamie.
Exactly.
You could be the guy that we yell up to.
Yeah.
Look up that monkey, man.
Yeah, I could feed you guys just videos of all sorts of monkeys. A Siamese gibbon. You know what
Yeah.
that is? They got
I-
neck pouches and then they inflate them and they go.
That's crazy. You got good orangutan clips in the back pocket?
Of course. Come on.
Duh.
Perfect. Justice, it seems like it's a family trait. You're a podhead? You like podcasts?
I do. I enjoy a podcast. Not this one though. I've pointedly avoided it until I'm on the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
Podpodcastcast.
He kind of boycotted it until
And
he
then-
could
I
be
refuse
on.
to listen to anything until I've actually come on.
Yeah, well, I think that's uncool. And listener, don't get any ideas.
No.
You have to keep listening. Because if you
Listener
don't...
at home, turn this off.
Hey, wait a minute.
Wait.
Edit that out. Cut that out. This is absolutely ridiculous. Well, Justice, we're glad to have you, and we hope you bring a good podcast because you will be rated against your sibling. And I will pick, which one of you to
What
take and which one of you will become
Else
Jamie.
is new.
I like that Justice and I are pitted against each other, but Patience got a pass.
Well, I called Patience Honor, too. And after that, I felt like I had
You did.
really just... I've been so mean to her that I couldn't, I couldn't
Yeah, that's
say
the
anything.
meanest thing you could do,
That's
huh?
that's the lowest. Okay, all right. So there's a podcast I want to talk about. Last Round Table, I talked about a podcast that is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It was a weird mix of like Christian influencer and I've been to prison. Like it was a strange podcast. But now today's podcast is also weird, but in a different direction. And so much more similar to a lot of the other podcasts we've talked about, but it's still really strange. So the podcast I'm talking about today is Crowley Time with me, Tom Crowley.
Okay.
Don't worry. At the beginning of every episode, he says, "Welcome to Crowley Time with me, Tom Crowley." With
Okay,
me,
good.
Tom Crowley. Crowley Time is a sketch comedy podcast.
Oh no.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's the normal response, Joseph, by the way. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
no.
this is the kind of stuff when I go to my girlfriend, I'm like, I've been listening to this. She's like, oh, I have to hear about this now. Okay. It's when you hear sketch comedy podcasts, like, what do you think? What do you imagine it would be like?
I think bad. So just to be fully honest. I mean, like sketch comedy, like half of it is like visual aid,
Yes.
prop comedy.
Right.
So like just boiling it down to audio, it'd be impressive.
Right.
But it seems very difficult.
Yeah,
Yes.
it seems like you could do it well, I think, for sure. I don't know if most people could do it well.
Yes. And I think that's why there's not a lot of it out there. Justice, I think your knee-jerk reaction, like this is bad, is a correct one. Like I've heard of like improv comedy podcasts, which, okay, when there's a comedy podcast, it's usually like a comedian just like saying their thoughts or else like
Right.
a comedian doing interviews, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard of improv comedy podcasts, which are strange and not very good. I think that's right. But I've never heard of a sketch comedy podcast. And when I think of sketch comedy, I'm thinking like Saturday Night Live. I'm thinking like Key and Peele, like the classic sketch shows.
Exactly.
And so I heard of this show. You and me, Honor, just recently reviewed Wooden Overcoats.
Yeah.
And Tom Crowley plays Eric Chapman in that show. Yes, Eric Chapman, the like guy who's so happy it's painful. Yes, Sunshine Man. And so Tom Crowley plays that character. And then, so the most recent thing in the feed for that show is an advertisement for Crowley Time after that show ended. It's like, hey, you should listen to Crowley Time. So I did. So I listened to Crowley Time with Tom Crowley. And just a little background on Tom Crowley. He's a writer, voice actor. He's written for The Amazing World of Gumball, which will be important to people who I guess are roughly our age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing World of Gumball is funny. I think Justice and I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing in particular. Justice and I agree, and Patience doesn't necessarily.
Whoa.
She doesn't like it.
Bad
But
opinions.
we do, so we have good opinions.
Yeah.
This is true.
See, I fully thought Tom Crowley was just like a random guy.
I mean, he is a random guy in that he's just like...
But he has a little ethos. He
That's
has some
true.
accolades.
He's a British comedy writer.
Mm.
And so if you go on his website, he'll tell you all the things he's done. And one of which was write some of the episodes for The Amazing World of Gumball for Europe. I don't know if they had different...
And be British.
Yeah, and be British. So he's done a few things. I think probably the thing he's most well known for is Wooden Overcoats because it was a very big audio drama. But I don't know, maybe that's just skewed by what I know him from. So I was like, okay, this guy seems like he's a funny guy. I like him. I'll listen to Crowley. So the format for the show is he does an intro bit, which is usually just like some sketch where he's like, all right, everybody, thank you for coming to the annual company retreat. We're having a wonderful time, an amazing quarter, and I hear from the people up top that it's just about Crowley time. And then the Crowley time music intro rolls. That's how it goes every time. And then he like has a monologue at the beginning, which is usually about the theme of the episode. So like one of the themes for the episodes was industry and influence.
Okay.
And so he just kind of like talks for a little bit, and then he's like, and now a bunch of sketches. And so what are in these sketches? Well, it's just him. Crowley Time is just Tom Crowley, and he voices all of the characters in the sketch.
Okay.
Right. I Justice is bracing over there. He's like, oh no, this is gonna be.
I'm intrigued.
It's so intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so he voices all the characters in the sketch, and then he goes through a bunch of sketches. These range from like 20 minutes to more recently they've been getting a little longer, which is like 40, maybe 50 minutes, which is, I mean, that's
a ludicrous amount of time for sketch comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I listened to, I think the first, I don't know, maybe 15, maybe 20 episodes. And there's not that many more than that. So I haven't got to these really long episodes. So I don't know what is in the deep. Okay, listeners, if you go in there, go at your own peril. So here is everybody that's in a sketch, and then they just go through a series of sketches, usually like maybe 5 or 6. They have some bits, they're funny, and then he's like, now listener, what did you learn? Like he does a little bit of an outro monologue, and then that's the episode.
Intriguing.
So it's kind of, you're like, okay, this feels fairly, that doesn't sound so crazy. But still, Sam Herner, what is the, like, what are the sketches like, right? Because it's easy to imagine a sketch show. What does an audio sketch look like? And I'd have to say, it's less jarring than you would think. Yes.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. Maybe I'm so I obviously, for this podcast and for my own enjoyment, I listen to audio dramas, right? And so like I'm used to an audio drama. And so this is just like, it's just an audio play, but with a bunch of little vignettes, right? And I think Tom Crowley's pretty funny, and so he pulls it off well. So I think the best way to get a handle on it is with some examples. So like one example is my favorite, because usually there's sketches, and sometimes they're like running sketches that there'll be across several episodes. And so my favorite is, I can't remember the name of the guy, Space Cartographer. I think is like His name's like Neil Laser, space cartographer.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And he goes, space log, space year 47, day 2. Today I landed down on Glorious 5, and there were a bunch of relaxing mud pits. And so I ran by the mud pits and put my toes in them. It was delectable. Like, it's kind of in that voice, like, really a hammed up Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Talking about, like, the silliest stuff, being like, Space Command has ordered me back for the New Year's retreat, at which I had to meet a floor bond. And I did not like how long his tongue was. You know, like, it's like the premises of the space cartographer sketches are just like he's going around and he's also an idiot. As he's
corporate astronaut's diary.
Yes. But he does, like, he's Zach Brannigan from Futurama. Wow, that did not land.
Nope.
No one cared. Okay, whatever.
You're going to learn what my household does and does not know.
And it's not what I know.
Not Futurama.
But it's very much like he's self-important. There's some other recurring characters, like Rodney Shinbone, I think is one, from Shinbone Entrepreneurials. And he's like, hello, my name is Rodney Shinbone from Shinbone Entrepreneurials. I have 40 dogs. I got them out of a van, and I have the dogs now. I'm keeping the dogs, and if you would like them, please take them today because I need to go back to my servers that I've been renting and pour on the hot jelly so that they go good. Rodney Shinbone is always trying to sell you something, and clearly he has made a bad deal on it, and he needs to sell it to you quickly.
He's getting out of a hole.
Yes, he's always trying to get out of a hole. And there's several. Oh, the one other recurring one that I'll mention is Wingnut. Wingnut is a 5-year-old's boy who has a advice podcast. Send your letters to Wingnut. It's exactly how we talk.
Wow, that's awesome because it's also a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain.
Wingnut?
Yeah.
He's a bat person.
Oh, interesting. Wingnut
but I'm also like, maybe that is what a 5-year-old would name their advice podcast. They'd be like, I need an alter ego for my advice podcast.
Yes.
I'm going to pick the nerd Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villain.
It could be. Well, yeah. I think that makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't think this British man made that choice on purpose, but it heightens it for me.
Yeah, I think he went to the hardware store and like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if a boy was called Wingnut?
And he had an advice podcast.
That'd be great. And there's a bunch of other ones. There's a bunch of other like mockumentary style sketches. There's a bunch of sketches where it's like, Rebecca, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. Like it just a bunch of really, I guess I want to say random sketches. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to put my credibility on the line. Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny.
I kind of believe that.
Can I ask 2 clarifying questions?
Yeah, please.
1, are there sound effects, or is it just Tom Crowley's
There are sound
voice?
effects. There are sound effects. And he does a pretty good job. They're not like, it's not super high produced.
Mm-hmm. But it's not just like raw Tom Crowley.
No, he's not like jumping back and forth between 2 microphones.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's well edited.
That's kind of leads into the other question. Like, are there like beats when the sketches switch, or is it just like on to the next one?
Yeah, I think there are beats. A lot of times, as he didn't do this at the start, but as the show went on, he's put in this like little segment where he checks the voicemail. Like, he'd be like, all right, that was a lovely sketch. Let's see if we have any voicemails from our audience. Ka-chik. Hi, Tom Crowley. I think you're a bad man. This is an evil podcast from Satan, and I am investigating you. You know, it is like lovely, and so like frequently that will be the bit that's
that was. I was just like, how do you? Because normal sketch comedy, if you're on a stage, you just like change the scene and it's obvious. So that was like, how does one smoothly and effectively transition? Yes. In a pure audio format.
Sometimes he will like actually introduce this sketch. Gotcha. But a lot of times he'll do that like voicemail segment, like little bit to cut them up, or like it's not so jarring, like because the first sketch will like fade out, and then you like the next one comes on. And you're like, okay, I get it. But it's not like SNL where it's like, okay, now it's commercial break. So when I first thought of this, I'm like, is this like SNL? But to me, it's almost more like, and I know this is gonna be strange, The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And the problem is I do liken everything to The Twilight Zone. You know, when you nail everything's a hammer. Oh, wait, that's the other way around. Whatever. But it's it is both like comedy, but it is also like Wingnut is weird. Like he's not just always overtly funny. There's like weird ominous music that is in the background. There's like Santa Claus is Mr. Christmas, but he also will come in and like he's been like, "Hello, boys and girls. I've been whipping Tom Crowley to make good content for you." And it's like, oh, Mr. Christmas, you're ominous. So there is a little bit of, I don't want to say like something spooky going on. That's not quite it, but there is. It's not just pure comedy, or at least it's not pure American comedy. I think there's a lot of this that is like more British subtle. Humor. I think it's pretty funny. I love to hear when Sir Chuntley Buckingham takes me to the drama parlor. That's a real segment. I think it's really good. I'm shocked to say that I think a sketch comedy podcast is good, but I would say if you like to laugh and you like audio dramas, I think those are the two barriers, the two gates that you need to get through. But if both of those are true, especially if you're a fan of Wooden Overcoats, I think you'll have a good time with this podcast.
What would you rate it?
I would give it a 4. I would give it a 4. I don't know if this is for general audiences. Like I wouldn't recommend this to my mom, but like I could still see her getting into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. If some things went wrong in her life.
If she was a little worse off.
Yeah, I think.
If everything was a hammer to her.
If everything was a hammer.
I'm never going to drop that you said that backward, because that's really
When
funny.
you're a nail.
When you're a nail, everything's
I think it kind of works, though.
Yeah, it makes a little sense.
That seems like an allegory for anxiety.
That's what I was thinking.
You know what else is an allegory for anxiety? Honor's podcast. Honor, what are you up to, buddy?
Hop on the Segway.
See, you've started doing this lately where you come up with these really insane segues.
I think it was beautiful.
And then,
thank you.
I'm going to shake your hand.
Wow. Crossing the studio, which is also just a bedroom. Yeah.
There's a map of the New York subways behind you.
I'm going to look at that while Honor tells us about her podcast.
Yeah. Anyways, I like that you've started doing this thing where you just pull segues from anything, because then I always stop and think, is this true? Most of the time it isn't, but I do think about it. You should absolutely
disregard it.
Okay, so this might end up being the shortest review I've ever given, because so I knew that we were going to record, this is going way behind the curtain. I knew we were going to record a bunch of episodes pretty quickly in succession. And so I was thinking I need to listen to something, maybe not exactly what's in my usual wheelhouse. I ended up bringing it up to my dad. And he and I both really like sports. We've been watching a lot of baseball together, watching the pre- and post-game shows. And so he listed several things, but the main thing he said was Tony Kornheiser is like a smart sports guy who, he was like, I think he has a podcast. He was like, look that up. And I was like, yeah, the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Yeah.
Tony Kornheiser?
Tony
This
Kornheiser.
Is not a real person. Are you talking about a scarecrow?
It's
is not a
with a K, which I do think makes it weirder.
You're covering up at that point.
Yeah.
You're covering up for the fact that you're a corn man.
Because you're a corn man.
Or you're just like, I think you're just a fan of old rock. If you're naming yourself Korn with a K.
Sure. Yeah. And then Heiser being your favorite bud, I guess. That doesn't quite work. So this guy he's a known sports commentator.
He's a sports commentator, does sports talk radio. He had a big sports talk show with another co-host of his. They were on TV for a long time. I believe they still are. And that's like a daily show that he does, which, one, is insane. Two, what's more insane, this is a daily podcast that he also does.
That is crazy.
How much time is he spending recording himself? And then not editing anything.
I was about to say, there's like 0%.
Except that there is a little bit of editing, because here's one of my big docking points of this podcast. There's about 4 or 5 commercial breaks in every episode.
How long
which,
is
to
that?
be fair, an ep is about an hour long. But it is like every 10 to 15 minutes you stop for, it's not just one ad, it's 2 or 3 minutes of ads.
That's much more like TV.
It's much more like TV, which kind of makes sense. But also, if you're used to listening to podcasts, they don't do that. And so I'm a little miffed about it when I'm listening. Boo. But my dad recommended this to me. He was like, this guy has a podcast. He's entertaining. He's been in the showbiz for a long time. You know, whatever he said. He definitely didn't use the word showbiz. But so I was like, I'll give it a listen. His podcast is just called The Tony Kornheiser Show, and it's him, and we talked about Jamie characters earlier. He's got pretty much a Jamie, but he kind of just is a guy to talk at.
Wait. He is Jamie? Because Jamie's the character.
No, he has one.
Got it.
He
has a guy
Jamie.
that he says, like Joe Rogan, go look up monkey. But he's looking up sport. Hey, look that up on sports.
I just hesitate to call him a co-host because he doesn't talk nearly as much as Tony Kornheiser. He kind of asks questions, but he seems like he's mostly there for Tony Kornheiser to talk at.
Might I say, he's more like Andy Richter for Conan O'Brien, or even better, the guy I can't remember from Jimmy Carson.
Yeah.
The guy, the late night, who is like on the couch.
There's like a
every
sidekick.
Time. Yeah, he's the late night sidekick.
He's the late night sidekick for the Tony Kornheiser Show. And so he's Guillermo.
Who's Guillermo?
Jimmy Kimmel.
I see.
So this is maybe loosely a sports talk show. That's definitely what Tony Kornheiser does. So it's kind of one of the recurring things. He's been talking about the Nats. And so he talks about sports, but he also kind of just talks about whatever's on his mind. I listened to a couple of the recent episodes because, again, this is a daily podcast. So I was like, I'm not going to try to, be like, oh, where did he start? What's the... No.
There's no hope.
There's no hope.
Also no point because no one listens to it
play.
like that. Right.
And so, there was an episode fairly recently where he spent a long time talking about he got a scam email that he almost fell for, and then he contacted his bank and they were like, no, never give your personal information that way, we will never do that. And then he went on this tirade about how law enforcement needs to be cracking down on these people who are sending scam emails. And I'm like, so sure, man, which is also kind of what the sidekick guy was doing. He was like, they can try.
So this is a dad podcast.
Yes.
Not like this is not to say anything bad about your dad.
Yeah.
This is not. I don't even know if this is a podcast for dads.
No.
But it just sounds like you gave someone's dad a podcast.
Yes.
You gave a complaining scarecrow a microphone.
You gave a complaining scarecrow.
Wow,
a
destroyed
microphone.
Tony one swift blow.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Gavel.
I really didn't. He brought out the gavel.
No, justice. Strikes again.
I feel like that's fair, though. Yeah, honestly, I could have given Tony Kornheiser more of a shot. I really did not listen to that much.
How much did you listen to?
I listened to probably an episode and a half.
That rocks.
I gave him an hour and a half. And then I was like, he does do a little bit of sports talk. He has guests on that call in. Most of them are other sports talk people. I like listening to sports talk, so whenever he was doing sports talk stuff, there's a little bit of a barrier where his teams are not my team, so I was like, I kind of don't care. But actually, us earlier being all together because Sam had to travel for podcasting, we were talking earlier about how sports talk, there's all these cliches of it's a good group of guys out there.
Yeah.
They've got some young guys coming up. I'm excited to see them. You've got the catchphrases that you can always say on a sports talk
and
thing.
And that's what he goes back to?
That's what he goes back to. That's just what everyone goes back to, So there's a certain amount of sports talk where you could put almost any sports talk in front of me, and I just like that.
You just imagine that they're talking about your team?
Sure. Or just, it's a very familiar thing. So it's yeah, I'll enjoy this. However, there's also a certain amount of it that is you can't just do the cliches. That's kind of what it felt like was happening, and it was sports that I didn't super care about.
You're saying the things that everyone already knows.
You're saying the things that everyone already knows, and it's not like you're Rex Hudler or someone who has a personality. If anyone doesn't know who Rex Hudler is...
Rex Hudler is...
Look up Rex Hudler Moon.
Yeah, he's one of the Royals commentators.
Got it.
In game. He is such a character. He thinks the moon is a planet.
He did say what a beautiful planet about the moon, and then his co-commentator went quiet for a minute and went, what?
Yeah, he has some catchphrases as well that are his own cliches that aren't
this guy's driving the bus.
Yeah, he always says this guy's driving the bus. Who's driving the bus?
He's really concerned about public transportation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, he's not even always doing that, though, Tony Kornheiser. because sometimes he's complaining about the scam emails he got.
That rocks.
Or talking about truly whatever he wants.
So you're there because you like Tony.
You're there because you like Tony.
And maybe he'll talk about the sports.
Yeah, but I understand why my dad recommended it to me.
Yeah.
Because he thought this was going to be a sports show. And I think if it was, maybe I would have come to like Tony. But you kind of...
He had a chance with you.
Yeah, you kind of can't just have a podcast where you talk about... When they say the Tony Kornheiser Show, they weren't kidding. I thought they were maybe kidding a little bit, but it is just for him to talk into a microphone and kind of talk at a guy who's not really a co-host from what I can tell. And I don't know. It really didn't grab me. It didn't have anything special to hook me. So I would give this like 1.5 stars. I think if you like Tony...
That's legitimately the lowest rating I think we've ever given.
The Gavel.
Oh, I've given... Because I gave Joe Rogan 1.
Is that right?
And yeah.
I forgot.
Jamie, pull that up.
This guy... I think I gave a 1.
Imagining Joe Rogan being like, Jamie, can you believe that they gave us a 1?
Pull that up, Jamie.
Pull that up, Jenny.
I love your Joe Rogan impression. It's me, Joe Rogan.
It's me, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think probably his TV show is better. I think if you like Tony, this probably is going to get more pods from you, more stars.
Maybe just he's not a podcast guy. He's
he
a TV show guy.
might not be a podcast guy. He also was very clearly old when he was talking about falling to an email scam, and maybe that lost him points for me. Maybe I'm biased. But
Honor famously hates old people.
Famously, I hate old people. But that's all I had. I wish there was even more to rip into of like, this sucked so bad, but it was just like there was nothing burger of a podcast.
By the time this episode comes out, we will have already reviewed New Heights by Jason and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have a lot to compare, contrast, or you will, between that show and this one, which is like a commentator versus like someone who played the sport.
Yeah. And like, I was going to say people with more personality. Maybe that's not true.
Get roasted, Cornhusker.
I don't know. They're funny. But yeah, that's my pod. Which brings us to the Gavel.
Hold on. I want a Sam segue.
Okay.
I'm not going to start talking
my segue.
until... So just keep going, keep vamping, and then Sam jump in when you find a segue.
Hey, Justice, what podcast did you bring on?
I refuse it. Honor, go.
And that's my podcast, Nothing Burger. You got anything?
Speaking of bad podcasts, Justin, what podcast did Justin? Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Wow.
I was filled with blind rage in that moment. Oh, gosh. Oh, wow.
I brought notes, ladies and gentlemen.
Paper notes, even.
Wow.
Listeners, I want you to know, I've not listened to a lick of this podcast.
Which is hurtful. We find that's tough that you haven't listened to Podpodcastcast.
I want to disappoint the listeners here. I want you to be shocked and rocked by the Gavel. And that's what I've said all my life.
Yeah.
So the podcast I brought, arguably a podcast, arguably a show, probably a podcast, is from Dropout TV.
Of which Honor is a big fan. I am a medium fan.
Medium fan.
Yeah. I have reviewed Dimension 20 before on the podcast, which you wouldn't know because you haven't listened.
Good.
But now you do know
ashamed.
because I've told you that we've given it a pass before because you definitely can just listen to the audio of those.
Yeah.
And I often do.
Yeah. But so the podcast I brought today is titled The Unsleeping City. And so something that Dimension 20 does very well, I think.
This is part of Dimension 20.
Yes,
this
is a D&D campaign. And part of what I think they do very well is they are very good at not being stale. And, they do D&D consistently. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so just doing the same mechanics type of campaigns would be very stale. And so they do a very good job of like, Fantasy High is set in like a weird mix of like a 1950s world mixed with fantasy, and then there's like a Space Odyssey one, and there's like a fairy tale one. So like they do a very good mix, and this one is probably the most realistic, if that even makes sense to say.
Interesting.
So The Unsleeping City is titled as New York. It takes place in New York City, which Brennan Lee Mulligan, the DM, who's like very, very good DM, very good at his job,
famous for it.
Yeah, lived in New York, and so he has a lot of like personal connections to these things. But essentially, the premise is it's a New York City that has magical components, obviously, and there's a sixth secret borough that is the unsleeping city called Nod, which is the borough of dreams. Because, people say, like, New York is the city of dreams.
Sure.
And so there's a secret sixth borough that is like the dream realm that is kind of in combat, but also harmony with the real world of, I guess. So there's six main characters that the campaign follows. And so the best way to sum up the like dream versus the world is there's a vox phantasma and a vox populi. So there's the vox populi, who speaks for like the people, the real world, and then there's the vox phantasm vox phantasma that speaks for like the dreaming.
Is this a person?
Yeah. So it's like power imbued by like a monarch of those various realms. And so the vox populi is a man named Kingston Brown, who is like, he's a cleric, he's like a healer, like a voice for the people, a people's person, everybody loves him. And then the vox phantasma is a man named Pete the Plug, who is an avid drug dealer and is consistently high.
I like avid. I like that he's energetic and enthusiastic.
Oh, yes. His name is Pete the Plug.
He's the plug.
And so kind of mixed with his altered mind state that he is frequently in comes the power of dreaming, and he's like imbued with these powers, and the kind of story follows him along the journey of like harnessing these powers and being responsible with these powers and understanding them.
Is this character a player at the table?
Yeah.
Okay.
So each of those two people are players. So Kingston Brown's played by Lou Wilson. And then Allie Beardsley plays Pete the Plug.
That rocks.
I'll just keep going down this list of characters. So then there's Sophia Lee, or Sophia Bicicleta is her divorced name. And she is a part of the Order of the Concrete Fist, which does tie in. Basically, there's this monastery called the Order of the Concrete Fist that represents the balance of the dreaming and the waking world.
I see.
And they're like symbols, like a yin and yang of the dreaming and the waking, and balancing the cold, harsh reality of New York City and the dreaming, aspirational aspect of everything. There is a rat man druid named Cugrich.
Awesome.
I think the best possible combination of words.
Rat man druid.
He lives in the sewers. He helps the homeless, and he casts dirty fire magic.
Dirty fire?
Yeah.
Is it just filthy?
Yeah, I love just the way they kind of represent all of his magic is being just the filth and dirt of New York. And that's just kind of ties into Brennan is very good at painting a picture of every D&D campaign has essentially the same rules.
Yeah.
But he does a very good job of within those rules still staying true to a story and the uniqueness of a situation. And so Pete the Plug, he's a wild magic sorcerer because he doesn't have good control of his power, and it's raw dream magic. And Kingston Brown being a people's person is a healer, and
tying those mechanics into who they are.
Exactly, yeah. And even just in the minutia of each spell he describes as true to a story and not just okay, you cast a fireball, which I really appreciate.
How much damage do you do?
Right.
Okay,
it's focused more on the story, as the mechanics are a medium of telling that story. There's Misty Moore, who is a bard, basically a Broadway actress.
Gotcha.
Who kind of also stands as a representation of the whimsy of New York, and she is a monarch of fairy. And then the last one is Ricky Matsui, who is one of New York's bravest. He's a firefighter paladin.
God bless.
Gotta love it. And he's just the perfect man. He's just ripped and never fails, and is just such a beautiful man. And also is a Japanese immigrant, so he has the story of aspiration and fighting for something true. And...
Is it? I just real quick.
Yes.
Is it literally New York City?
Yes, literally New York City.
It's not New Bork.
No, they keep it very, very literal. Part of what I talk about in the good and bad stuff is the literal references, and because Brennan is from New York, so he's very good at taking real things and being this is what it would be like if it was magical. But so the kind of story around those six follows what's called paragons, which are ideas or ideals from the dreaming realm that then kind of the premise is something within the dreaming can be very chimeric and dynamic and changing, and like a dream can be anything. But when a dream gets so big that it comes to the real world, it has to become something.
Yeah.
Which is part of the like harsh reality of like when a dream becomes real, it's not a dream anymore, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And so there are 3 existing paragons, which are the fairy realm, heaven, and hell, which were like big ideas that became so big they became a thing. And so they're like still tied to the dreaming realm and have like, interplay. But so then there's 4th paragon, that's the American dream, that an evil vampire businessman is trying to harness for himself. I know. What a beautiful sentence.
That's awesome.
So the main villain, I'm trying to like not spoil too much, but I also want to talk about it because it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler warning.
Yeah.
If you want to go listen to the podcast, go listen.
Yeah.
Come
and
back.
I'll still leave the fun stuff for you to go figure out on your own. But
yeah,
the main villain is Robert Moses, who is, I actually spoke wrong. He's not a vampire. He's a lich. But,
okay, sure.
Potato, lich, vampire.
To the D&D heads, they would have been frothing at the mouth.
Yeah.
But so he is working to harness this like existing paragon that is kind of shown by Emma Lazarus in her poem of like the poem of the Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this curse of like evil money magic that he's like spreading throughout the dreaming and basically contorting the American dream to be like, well, you need money. And so money is actually the important thing. And so it becomes like, oh, I have this dream. I need money to get there. I'm going to chase this money, then the dream. And then you lose sight of the dream and all you want's money.
Sure.
And so there's this like evil magic that also ties into the story of Kugrich, because we find out later on, spoiler, he was actually a human businessman that was cursed to become a rat because he was a rat.
Whoa.
In that, he like screwed over a school for a bunch of money and like was just, a shrewd businessman who his true form was revealed to be a rat and a bad person.
That kind of rocks though. I mean, I don't want to be a rat, but if I knew that was an option, I might be a bad person if my life goes down. For sure.
But so then to get into like the good and bad, the real critiquing stuff, because that's what we're all here for.
Mm-hmm. I like that you've never listened to this podcast, and I think it's made you take it more seriously than a lot of people.
1/4 of my notes are different names for Sam. Would you like me to read them?
I really would.
Samplitude, Instasam, Sampede, Samazon Prime, Shucking Sams, Sam Diego, San Francisco, Sam Antonio, Sam Hatton, Samberghini, Samouflage, Samplifier, Sambidextrous, Samnesia. Get this? The funniest thing, I wrote Samnesia twice. On accident. Sam, Sammy, Samuel, Samwise, Sam I Am, Sam and Cheese, Samurai, Hoover Sam, Samly, Sampaw, Samantha, Sam and Toast, Sammy Dodger, Salmonella, Viet Sam, Sambodia, Sampire, Sambarine, Samosa, Samtrack, Samstring, Sam Sesh, Traffic Sam, Salmon, Sandwich, Samosa, I think I already wrote that one. Sample, Samster, Uncle Sam, Shazam, Samsung, and Sam Squatch.
Wow.
That's so good.
I'm clapping.
Thank you.
Clapping. I like that there was a mini theme of countries in Southeast Asia.
There were kind of a lot in there. Yeah.
That was fantastic. Wow.
Thank you very much.
I feel so honored. Sorry to take that name from you, but
yeah, you just got a bunch and that's not enough for you.
I would be a rat man.
You would be a rat man.
All right. So one
the
of
rest
the things
of your
I have,
notes.
What?
The rest of your notes that aren't Sam names.
The good stuff was kind of some of the New York references that were like, very cool to me. So one of them is that SantaCon, which is where like a bunch of college kids like get drunk and dressed up as Santa, is actually that Santa creates clones of himself to deliver all the toys, and all the defunct ones get dropped off in New York City. So it's actually just a bunch of messed up Santa clones who kind of wander around and mess stuff up.
That rocks.
That's awesome.
Broadway is like a very tied to fairy and bards. Stephen Sondheim is canonically a College of Swords bard and fights the American dream with dual wielding broadswords given to him by Santa.
That sounds awesome. I don't know who that guy is, but he sounds cool.
Stephen Sondheim?
Yeah.
How dare you?
What?
My bad, guys.
You have no idea how much Stephen Sondheim you've listened to in your life.
Yeah, there's so much Stephen Sondheim. Listeners at home, email Sam and
Email
berate him.
Sam.
Please let me know. Inform me.
There is a pixie mob. So like the mob in New York is mostly pixies. And
Oh,
there's,
that rocks. Good.
there's a man named Don Confetti, and he talks like this.
Don Confetti is so good.
And he's like, yeah, it's very funny. The lions outside of the New York Library are like real and speak and are boyfriends. And so that's where like the main wizard people live.
Sure.
There's the vampire businessmen, where like all of Wall Street is literally vampires.
Yeah.
There's also a thing called the highway hex that Robert Moses created, which is basically the like interface of moving energy creates like a border of New York where like magical entities can't exit and leave very easily. There is the Order of the Concrete Fist. There's my handwriting is so terrible. Oh, the last thing. Bodegas are magical, and their cats are magical, and they're gods. And Sophia Lee is blessed by a bodega cat, which is La Gran Gata. So that's another part of it.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
I salute the bodega cat.
The other thing, which kind of goes without saying, is just like the D&D is very well played. Like Brendan Lee Mulligan, I've noticed in all of his campaigns, he does kind of the same thing of like pacing. He does it very well, but it's also like a little predictable. Like the first fight always has one big bad who produces lots of little minions that are like easy to kill. So it's like, oh, we can like figure things out and see how different people's things work and like all of that. And then he does a very good job of the last fight. He always sets like a challenge before it. So they're not all just like running in fully ready to go, like long rested, you know, like in Fantasy High, he does that very well. And like he does that very well mechanically. And yeah, just the pacing and everything along with the cohesion of the story is very, very good. It was hard to find bad things, honestly. It's very well made. One of the things was kind of tied into the sketch comedy stuff is like the audio versus the visual. Sometimes it's hard to follow like a complex D&D fight just through audio.
Because they have a video component.
Yeah, they have a video and they have maps and everything.
Yeah.
One of the things I wrote was just unserious at times because they're all improv comedy people.
Yes.
So they're going to just go down rabbit holes of like ridiculousness.
Just be totally goofy.
Especially when one's a rat, one's a plug, and another one is a perfect firefighter, man. Like,
Yeah.
So
there's going to be some...
And that's the difference between like a D&D like play show and then like making an audio drama that is the same story, you know? It's like, you have to be ready to be taken out of it from time to time.
Yeah. And then just the other only bad thing I could find was there are like very niche references to New York City because they all like lived there together basically. So sometimes you're kind of like, I don't know what that means, but they usually explain it pretty well.
Gotcha.
What would you rate this pod? It sounds like you had a good time with it.
It is a good time, and I listened to a lot of Dimension 20 stuff because of it. I would rate it 19 dimensions out of 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty dang good.
It is. It's very, very good, and it was very tempting to rate it 20 out of 20, but
there's just that little bit that would make it perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
That's fair.
Thank you, Justice. You know what else is awesome? Our inbox at podpodcastcast@gmail.com.
Whoa.
We got an email to read off. Hi, Sam and Honor. Loved these latest episodes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for finally releasing Emma's episode. I was feeling like it was being withheld to personally hurt me. I like listening to our podcast. Yes, my own too, in parentheses, when I need a laugh. A podcast recommendation for you, Dweeb Wars. It's a podcast starring two best friends, Carson and Jack, in their goal to answer the most pressing question in the nerd world. It is a competition between them to be, quote, head dweeb in charge, end quote, where a guest will pose a question and then they will each present an answer and the guest will choose a winner. It's a very good podcast and both the hosts were on Amazing Race, so you know that they've got some competitiveness in their soul. There's a visual aspect and they also post some of their episodes on YouTube. I prefer that to solely listening, but to each their own. Thanks. Liz. Thank you, Liz.
Thanks, Liz.
Liz was on our podcast a little while ago, and we did hold that Emma episode because we knew that you and Emma are besties, and we wanted you to just suffer just a little bit.
Yeah, we like to torment our listeners.
You know, this isn't a problem when you don't listen to the podcast.
That's true. Though also, okay, so this premise.
Yeah.
Is that what our podcast, is that what we should do?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we should definitely steal that.
Should we just steal that premise and just fight each other for head dweeb?
Maybe we don't release this episode.
Well, you're not a co-host, so
I win and then I leave the show and nobody else can win.
And Justice, you win.
I won.
Thank you for winning, Justice. Liz, thanks for writing in an email. We appreciate that. Yeah. And I'm gonna go check out Dweeb Wars. This sounds kind of right up my alley.
That sounds cool.
Listener, if you have some podcast recommendations, write in an email at podpodcastcast@gmail.com. And you can do that if you want, but you know what you gotta do?
Leave 5 stars.
Leave 5 stars. Review our dang podcast. We made this podcast just for you. We packaged it up. Justice, you better say something nice about this podcast.
Can I review it if I haven't listened to a single episode?
Yes, you can. Yep. And you can only give us 5 stars.
Yeah, that is the only rule. You can review it under any other condition, but it must be 5 stars.
Can it be a cumulative 5 stars? Like, can I give you like 2 and then 3?
No, that doesn't.
Actually, it's a function in the app. It won't let you submit anything except for hitting the 5-star button.
Because that's true. Apple Podcast knows
that's insane.
We've got a good.
Why would they offer any other amount of stars?
Because we're perfect.
Because
Justice.
we're perfect.
That's why.
Well, every other
you can
podcast.
Review this podcast, but only if you love it.
That's true.
Every other podcast, you can leave any amount. Yeah, but ours is perfect.
It's perfect, and you know that, listener. You know to be true. While Justice figures out if we're telling the truth or not, you should go leave that review. Honor, thanks for podding with me.
Sam, thanks for podding with me.
Justice, thanks for telling us about Dungeons and Dragons.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear the same thing covered from a different person in this family.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm used to hearing it from Honor, and I liked your perspective, and I liked all your names for me. I think I might go by some of those.
The gavel has spoken.
The gavel has spoken. I guess
Justice, the gavel.
I guess
Justice, the gavel, Justice.
I guess that's got to be the cold open now.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thanks, Justice. Oh, hey, Justice, before we go, is there anything you'd like to share with the listeners?
Listeners at home, there's a TikTok account out there. I genuinely don't know if it still exists. It's called Locker Boys. Boys with a Z. BOYZ. And it's famous. And you should go look at it and write in an email to tell me if it still exists, because I genuinely don't know. And
an email to podpodcastcast@gmail.com? Okay.
Yeah, because now he's going to start listening.
Gotcha.
Now that he's been
and this is how you'll get your news.
Right. Exactly. So listeners, if you have anything you need to tell me, go ahead and write in.
Write into us.
Yeah. It's a great place to pass correspondence back and forth.
Yeah.
We'll read it off.
And hopefully, going to college for audio technician stuff.
Yeah.
Listeners.
They're not viewing nothing.
Scoff the viewers.
Listeners, you may see me soon as a Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
And on that note.
Okay.
Are you ending the podcast? And he's done it. All right. Thank you, listeners.
Oh, my gosh. He's already sneaking in.
I'm in their heads, baby. I'm in there.
Okay, we'll be back some other time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Don't listen to the podcast.
Late.